Welcome back to the White Oak Collective podcast. It's been a while.
Long break.
It's been a while. So I guess we can kind of first go into what all has been going on. So we dropped that podcast with Jean Paul, which was probably our best podcast we've ever done. And then as far as listenership, and then we fell off the map.
2-month break.
Some stuff around the office we were using in our studio as our studio. It could no longer be our studio, and then we had a space to do it, but it had to be painted and cleaned up, and it needed a bunch of work done to it.
Converted out of an office space into
an office space that hadn't been taken care of.
Yeah,
it was pretty nasty in here, and we're still not
fully set up.
Yeah, I mean,
not video.
We don't have video today, but we knew that we needed to get back on here and drop a podcast because it's been way too long.
Yeah, and I guess really we were going to do. We had kind of planned on doing all this right before the John Paul one, and then that popped up, and we decided we'd hold off, do it, and then make all the moves. So
and it just took. This process has taken longer than I thought it would. I mean, number one being that we've both had a ton of other stuff going on, and we can't just commit to doing this stuff when we've got other stuff going on. But and I've got a couple of guests that I've talked to about coming on, but I don't want to get them down here until we can get everything figured out and
get pictures off the floor and on the wall. And
yeah, I mean, if we had video right now, I mean, it looks terrible where we're at, but it's way better than it was when this room started. So, but we are back. It's the end of October, and
it's my anniversary, October 24th.
It's your anniversary today. Well, happy anniversary! I didn't know until right now. How many years is that?
9.
10's like a big deal, I think.
Yeah,
you're almost there.
We're almost made it to 10.
I think I'm at 5. Yeah, I'm at 5. I'm getting there too, maybe. But yeah, all right. What you been? Let's catch everybody up. What besides the podcast stuff? What's been going on?
Man, it seems like it's the reason why we haven't done one of these in a while. Just been kind of busy with all kinds of different life stuff. We have during the interim, I guess we did have a velvet season deer hunt. I went one time, so didn't get much out of that. Just went once, more so to say I went than anything, and got some greenfields started. Actually, I say that we actually got some greenfields up. They're kind of struggling to hang on right now since we hadn't rain in probably 6 weeks
at least. Yeah, that's the planting stuff has been what's probably taking up the most of my time this past month. And when I do have an afternoon free or whatever, lately I've been wanting to go hunting, so I hadn't been wanting to come in here and work on this. But yeah, the rain, I don't know what we're going to do about that, because I checked the 10-day at lunch today, and there's no rain.
Still nothing.
None. We planted. Well, I planted my stuff right before right before the hurricane that did all the damage on the East Coast, and we got the rain from it, and they looked great. Now they're struggling, and I hope that they don't start to die. But then the other stuff we planted 2 weeks ago, and I mean, we covered it, but it's just sitting there baking and getting eaten by turkeys.
Yeah. Also, the stuff I was most worried about, I planted 4, I think. Prior to the hurricane you're talking about, we had another little rain shower that was going to come through like on a Monday or something. I just ran out there that weekend before and top seeded 4 of them, cut it down low, top seeded 4 of them, just trying to catch that rain. And so they've caught 2 decent rains early on back in September. I think I planted them around like the 13th, 14th, something like that. They had been looking really good. But I think they got established enough that they seem to be holding on pretty strong, like the dews we're getting in the morning.
We are getting some heavy dews. Yeah. That's the only, you can, where we planted up at Enendale that's had 0 rain, it's still like on the edges and stuff where the heavy dews hitting in the shade stuff starting to come up. So
well, and then all the camp patches, we went on and planted them like the 26th of September, I think, 27th September, and game plan was to just get them in the ground, cover them up, and just let them sit until we got some rain. But we actually had enough soil moisture at the time that they all germinated. So I wasn't expecting that to happen, but they did. They're up. Like you said, they're kind of hanging in there, but if we'll get some rain before long, they'll probably be okay. But right now they're kind of, everything's yellowing out.
Rain before long. I mean, mine that have shade are fine. Mine that are in the cutover, they're getting toasted. I mean, it's rough. But this happened last year. Was it last year or the year before last?
Well, yeah, it was last year because I looked back at my notes. I planted last year on October 27th, and it was because we waited all the way through all the drought before we planted. And I guess we probably should have done that this year, but I don't know. It seemed like with those storms coming through, it didn't look like it was going to be as dry of a fall as it was. And then the way the storms tracked, they sucked all the moisture out of here, and we got that high pressure system sitting on us now.
Yeah, I mean, you can't plant too early because I know people that planted early that army worms just ate them up. So you're right there. You've got such a fine line, and if you've got, I mean, we planted at the camp. I think we planted 18 acres, so that's not where you can just run out there the day before rain and throw the seed out. I mean, that takes a little bit of planning.
Yep. So
I don't know. That's what's been taking up our time recently is dealing with all that. I don't even know if we've talked much about it. Have you done any actual hunting? Bow hunting?
None.
And you're the bow hunter. You're supposed to be the deer hunter,
I
not
know.
me.
That's what I was laughing whenever you said that earlier about how you've been busy hunting. I
told you I was getting back. I'm back.
I went that Friday of the velvet season. Didn't see anything. And then ended up not going the rest of the weekend. I can't remember that was the weekend. That's it. That's when I planted. It was the velvet season was the weekend I planted. Because I hunted that Friday, then looked at the weather. There was some stuff coming in on Monday, and I decided I'd hop on the tractor and bush all, get some stuff cleaned, and throw the seed out. But since October's got here, now I've just kind of done something every weekend, or the couple weekends I think the one weekend we were here, we ended up going to the lake, and it was hot, and we just messed around out there. Took Virginia kayaking.
I'm back. I told you I was coming back as a deer hunter.
You've killed a deer.
Yeah, I killed a doe, and like I told you, and look, I'll go ahead and say right now because I keep hearing it in my earphones. It is so echoey in this new studio, but we'll get that better. But just put up with it on this time. But
I wonder if we could put some of these under here.
I think when we get more stuff on the walls and stuff. I mean, we're in an empty space right now. We just have our little sound dampeners, but that's it. But anyway,
so
getting back
what
to
about
it. I hadn't killed a deer with my bow because I hadn't bow hunted in like 2 years, and I've hunted a couple times. Well, I hunted the velvet season, didn't see a deer worth shooting. Then hunted a few times, couldn't get a shot. So the one time I did get a shot, it was like, and I have not practiced that much with my bow, and I know even looking back on this podcast, I've preached like you owe it to practice a lot, and I practiced some, but not as much as I should have. But anyway, the first doe walks out, she's at like 42, and she's not coming any closer. I mean, she's been between 42 and 60 the whole time, but about 42 is the closest she's got. I was shaking like it was a 150-inch buck out there. Like it felt like I had never shot my bow before, ever. I let one fly, and I bet it was 2.5 feet over her back. I mean, it wasn't even close.
Did she drop bad, or did you just shoot over?
She dropped some, but
some of it was just
she could have stood there, and I think I would have. I mean, maybe I got lucky and spined her, but it was high. It was a high shot. But then luckily it wasn't. I mean, she didn't even blow or anything. It was so bad that she didn't know what happened. She ran out there in the cutover, and I just watched her standing there. Then another doe came out. I think she got to like 35, maybe a little inside 35, and hit her a touchback, but not too bad. I mean, she didn't run probably 60 yards and fell over. So yeah, I've got me some meat in the freezer already.
Good deal.
I wanted to shoot a doe last weekend, but that dang 5 point, man, he's he's on my brain, and he showed up, but it was too dark to see him.
I should have been hunting yesterday and today. The 9-point that I was kind of hunting last year, I was hunting him last year. I really didn't want to run into him last year because I wanted him to get a little bit bigger, but it was the best thing I had on camera last year. He looks pretty good this year, and he has been there from like 5 o'clock to 7:30 yesterday, and I think he got there at like 5:30 yesterday afternoon, stayed till after dark. It was back in there this morning again, about the same deal.
Yeah, I've got a 9-point that I want to shoot that he ain't a big giant deer, but he's just something that I'd be happy shooting with my bow. And then that 5-point, people probably hear me say 5-point, and they're like, what the hell? But he's a big bodied 5-point. Last year he was a 7-point.
This isn't a northern 5-point. This is every point.
This dude this isn't like 5x5.
Yeah.
This is a 5-point. But I bet he weighs 200 pounds. I mean, he's a big old deer. And the only reason I know for a fact it's him is he's got a broken ear, so it just hangs. It looks like a cow. But they've disappeared the last couple of days, but I've had 4 gobblers that have showed up for like 3 days straight. So
that's something I've been seeing a lot of on camera this fall. We had a great hatch, it looks like. I mean, I know there's like a 3 or 4 hen group. I think they run around and have like 18 or 20 poults running around with them. It's the biggest group I've seen running. It's the biggest group I've seen running together out at our place in a long time.
We've run more cameras this year than we ever have, so I know that that's part of it. But also, yeah, I mean, we've had more poults on camera than I've ever seen. Those 4 gobblers, I mean, yeah, I was thinking about putting my place up for sale like in the next month or 2, but it's got me thinking about delaying for a little bit, at least till May. But yeah, I don't know where my deer are. They'll come back. I need to go put some more corn out, but they'll show up. They'll show back up.
Well, I had the 9-point that I've been watching for the last 2 years, and had a decent, I can't remember if he's an 8 or a 9. I had a decent other deer come up. And that's really the only 2 that I've had on camera worth like going after this year. The other ones were like 2-year-old 3s, 4s, 5s, little rack bucks. Been kind of happy with that too, though. I mean, seeing a lot of those, and that's something we used to not see a lot of. I mean, seeing a buck one was just an accomplishment, and so being able to see like 4 or 5 of them together in a field in the afternoon during daylight is like, that's just things that have never happened out there. So it's kind of cool being able to see that now.
Yeah, that's what happens when you do things right and do it like it's supposed to be done. I mean, we're out there at the camp. We're on that DMAP program with the state now. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to take years to get it like that, like you're talking about. But that's what I'm ready to see because it's just been.
Well, we haven't had any kind of just like super management plan or anything. We've just been a little bit more conscientious, I guess, of what we were doing. Really, since we were like in high school. So, I mean, that's starting to add up to quite a few years now. I was talking to a guy earlier today he was talking about they were having their 20-year reunion, and I said, yeah, it's adding up quick.
Hell yeah. It's adding up quick. Time's going by too dang fast.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, it's taken a while for it to turn like that, but it's definitely seeing more than we ever have. I don't know that we're seeing as many bigger deer as we used to. I guess that's a weird way to say that. It doesn't seem like we have the size of like 1 or 2 deer like we've had in the past, but we just have more smaller bucks now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's part of it, though. I mean, and you're going to be your place, my place. It doesn't matter how you manage. You're going to be limited in size. I mean, it just is what it is. But just seeing bucks with decent genetics, even if they don't get that big, just not seeing 5 points and shit like I've got, it just shows that you're making some progress. But you better get out there and shoot you a doe. I'm
planning on going this weekend. I say that. We're going this weekend over to the Delta to help a cousin of ours on a place he got, brush some duck blinds and stuff in, get some water running, make sure the pumps are working, all that.
You get a lot more meat off one of those does than you can over here. If you
we were looking at pictures of some the other day, and it's crazy. They look like we're laughing at one of them look actually like a small donkey.
Yeah, I mean, you can kill a 150-pound doe over there.
Yeah, at least.
Here, a 90-pound doe is a hell of a doe.
Yeah, that's
that
right.
doe I killed, which I mean, yeah, they're coming off summer. They're not going to be that heavy anyway. But I bet she wasn't 70 pounds.
That's what we were talking about earlier in the week. He said, "I bet I can send you a picture of a 150-pound doe." So I bet I can send you a picture of a 65-pound doe.
And a lot of them, especially over there. Man, I'll hunt over there. I'll see like 35 deer. Here, see 4, 5.
Well, we got a few things to do as far as just kind of cleaning up and getting that place ready. It was because it's the first year he's had it, so just kind of got a few things we're going to do on that. But talking about going maybe Saturday morning, looks like it's going to be pretty hot Friday and Saturday. So I don't know if we'll end up going those afternoons or not, or if we'll just kind of work. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to have all the stuff with me. We'll probably go Saturday morning. Looks like it'll still feel good. I mean, it feels great in the mornings.
Well, I'm going to kill this weekend. First doe I see again, so hopefully next time we run this podcast.
Oh yeah, no, I'm going to kill
doe or a third doe.
Yeah, if I go, it's to kill. That's for sure.
I don't know why. I had 2 does when I was sitting there trying to hunt that 5-point. I had 2 does in front of me at 22 yards, eating corn for probably 15 minutes. I should have just shot one, but oh well.
I'm just glad to see you fired up about it again.
Yeah, I'm back. I mean, I am fired up about it. Not about killing a buck, but just about going. And this weather has helped. I mean,
this is going to lead to an early burnout.
Yeah, probably. But that'll be okay because I plan to
transition to something else.
Get back more heavy into the ducks this year too.
Yeah.
So that'll. And we have I even told you about my trip I have planned for January?
No, unless it's the pheasant hunt.
No, so I was planning all that. I wanted to go on a public land hunt, and this outfitter that I wanted to go hunting with next year, like 2026, January of 2026, they had a cancellation for January of 2025 out in Wyoming hunting like little creeks that are no bigger than this table.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going.
Gotcha.
In
okay.
January.
No, you hadn't told me that.
It's like 5 of us. I'm looking forward to it. So, yeah, if I don't deer hunt in January,
that's fine.
So be it. I'll be out there in Wyoming hunting ducks.
That's another thing to note, I guess, about us not doing the podcast in about 6 weeks or 2 months, however long it's been. We really haven't seen each other but about 3 or 4 times in that time period.
No, we've been gone.
So we haven't had time to catch up on any of these things.
No, I couldn't. I hadn't even. I can't believe I hadn't even told you about that. It's probably not something you want to do, but there may be a spot open
in January. Yeah, okay,
we'll talk after. All right, let's switch gears a little bit to what everybody wants to talk about, and that is
real estate news.
No, I was going to phrase it a little different because I like talking real estate news. Election news.
Okay.
So now most people will probably cut this thing off.
Yeah.
But no, I saw this article on LandThink, and it was pretty interesting to me, so I figured it might be interesting to some people that listen, and most people at this point, especially our listeners, I probably pretty well nailed down who you're voting for and all that, but it's nice to be informed on some of the major players in the real estate game from these candidates. And the article was talking about the land market, how it would fare under each presidential candidate, and they sent out a poll to some of their audience, and 82% of respondents believe that the land market will do better under a Trump administration, which, yeah, you probably could have guessed that. Most everybody could probably guess that. Maybe would have thought that it would be a little closer. Now, granted, I don't know where this audience is coming from. I mean, it could be they're probably not posing these questions to too many people up in the deep, deep blue states, but you never know. It doesn't say where the audience came from, but anyway, so getting into like why. So that's what their audience said, but this is kind of some of the differences and why the actual author thinks that Trump would be better for the land market than Kamala. Mm-hmm. And the first one is on conservation easements. So that's like your CRP, your WRP, Those are the two popular ones around here. I know there's other ones, and this article talks about how Trump has actually used conservation easements multiple times on his golf courses. I didn't really.
Well, I was going to say that when you first handed me this article, or when you first started talking about the article and what it was about, just my brain went to like I guess it's because of his prior history with interest rates when he was president last time. That's what everybody's thinking is going to drive it. This is what makes the article a little bit more interesting, is that it's not just that. Like it doesn't even mention that. I don't think it goes into some actual detailed stuff he does with the conservation easements.
Yeah, I mean, it's got me kind of wanting to dig deeper into what he does, how he's getting these. Which I mean, I know how he's getting them probably, but it says he took a $39 million deduction for an easement on his golf course in New Jersey. I mean, what kind of easement are you getting $40 million for on a golf course? But I guess it can stay a golf course, but it can probably never be developed. I mean, that's...
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I was going to ask you if you knew that, but I mean, I thought whenever you put one of these into these conservation easements, I mean, they were for perpetuity. Like
Well, it all depends. Like most of the time, CRP it has a defined range of dates. WRP is usually in perpetuity, but CRP and WRP, neither one of those is probably going to be what he got on a golf course.
Well,
but
no, I mean there are conservation easements. I thought they were just called a conservation easement instead of the CRP or WRP, but there's some that just leave it natural, like in the natural state that it is. I mean, there's some stuff that you can do on it, but there can't be any kind of housing, residential, any kind of development like that on it. And I feel like that's probably what he did with the golf courses.
Yeah, it says in 2015 he used a conservation easement with a land conservancy to not develop his Seven Springs estate in New York. So he's familiar with the benefits of conservation easements. Whether, do either of them care about what's being protected by it? Maybe not, but he likes the tax advantages of it. And
it's still a good thing too.
Yeah, it doesn't
some
matter
of those highly populated areas to actually leave some stuff in land that can't be developed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care if they care about the actual land itself or they care about the deductions, as long as it's being put into effect. That's all that matters to me. But as far as Kamala goes, she doesn't, as with most of the policy, she doesn't really have anything nailed down as far as on conservation easements, but she has noted a lot of times about limiting write-offs and stuff like that for large investors, which large investors a lot of times are your landowners. And a lot of this is not, on the conservation easement side of things, it's not even if it was to mine or your benefit or any of our listeners' benefit, but you think about these people that own 50, 100, 200,000 acres. Well, if they can get that write-off and put that in a conservation easement, but it benefits the fact that 100,000 acres somewhere is never going to be developed, I mean, hell, I'm fine with that. It's probably not going to affect me personally, but it'll help keep some of our places undeveloped, and I hope that stays the course. So the next one that they talked about is estate taxes, the way that would benefit, or not benefit, but the way that would impact people. I mean, that's kind of common sense. The estate tax, it doesn't hit that many people because with the tax cuts that Trump did in 2017, he raised it up to $13.61 million lifetime estate and $27.22 million for married individuals. But he's obviously going to try to keep that. I bet if I had to guess, he'll probably increase that some.
Well, and it looks like if you can't repeal it, if you just keep increasing the limit, it's effectively doing the same thing for most people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then with her, I mean, it goes back to the same thing. His tax cuts run out in 2026, and they're obviously, they say they're going to cut taxes for the middle class. That doesn't make sense. You can't just cut taxes for the middle class and tax the hell out of the wealthy and make anything work. But pretty much, there's no telling what the estate tax will go back down to in 2026 if she was elected. It says that they're set to be reduced to $6 million on January 1st, 2026, and under Harris's proposal, it could be reduced down to $3.5 million. And that does start to affect your everyday person. I mean, everyday person in your lifetime, if you can't give away $3.5 million, that is going to affect everybody, not just the super wealthy. And then the last one that they talked about, and this would affect most everybody, in my opinion, but the 1031 exchange. It says if Trump was reelected, he would likely maintain the current 1031 exchange rules. He may even expand 1031 exchanges, allowing for a broader range of asset classes. So 1031 is basically you're kicking the can down the road on taxes, is what you're doing. You can exchange, you can sell a property and take your gains and exchange it into a new property and avoid having to pay those capital gains tax right away.
That's right.
And she is, under Kamala, she has supported a plan that was proposed by Biden's campaign that would limit 1031 exchanges to investors with annual incomes under $400,000. So all of this sound like they keep, and this is just to stay on the land market. I mean, we're not trying to get political on this podcast. This is just coming straight from Land Think, but it's all like you hear it. It's like, yeah, it's only for the super wealthy, and then this is annual incomes over $400,000. But when the top end of the real estate market stops, the bottom end stops too. So there's no point if you can't 1031 exchange something. You could just refinance that property, take your money out, and buy something else instead of selling that off that old property and buying something else. So then if the big pieces aren't selling, the little pieces aren't selling either. So
right.
It affects everybody, and it just kind of slows everything down to a halt. And that's kind of where we're at right now. I mean, everything's kind of at a halt, waiting to see what happens with this election. But we'll see. Kind of to sum it up, they say that Trump's approach would involve less government intervention and broader eligibility for individuals to take advantage of these policies. And basically Kamala is trying to cut out tax loopholes and involve government in more of the oversight of all these transactions and stuff. So just typical more government versus less government overall. But as far as, I mean, and I kind of agree with everything they're saying in that article. I mean, we see right now that the land market has kind of it's slow. But this time of year, it always kind of gets slow, but with it being an election, it's such a crucial election, it's really kind of slowed down.
I was going to ask you that earlier. We hadn't, like I said, we hadn't talked, so I was wondering if the last decrease in rates had helped any on.
Well, they jumped right back up.
They jumped right back up.
Yeah, they dropped down, which it did help. They dropped down. It's a lot harder to find stats on the land market than it is with the residential market, but they kind of go hand in hand. But applications for loans jumped with that rate decrease, and then they jumped right back up. So they're right back basically where they were now. It did help, so that's a good sign that if they keep dropping rates like they act like they're going to, it should continue to get better.
And I guess right now you probably have a lot of people just frozen for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, because we're sitting at 10 days from the election, yeah. So everybody right now, is just kind of sitting, because even not getting land aside, I mean, if you're trying to make an investment decision and land is an investment, I mean, what's the stock market going to do? What are interest rates at the bank's going to do? If you put it in CDs and stuff like that, what's going to happen with that? All of that goes into account when you're trying to decide if you're going to make an investment in land. So right. It's all just kind of standing still right now. I'm ready for it to be over, one way or another. I'm ready for it to be
just
over.
Move past it. Yeah,
that way I can just
also not be bombarded with politics on your social media and TV and everything else.
Oh God, yes. Well, and I'm tired of just everything you hear is just, yeah, we're waiting until the election. Yeah, we're gonna see what this election does. And at the end of the day, I mean, these, the policies like we just went over, I mean, yeah, they're gonna make a big difference, but it's not like the world is just going to turn upside down if the election doesn't go the way that we would like it to.
It just is going to change consumer confidence and spending habits for a period of time until they get back comfortable with what the scenario is.
Yep, because nobody's just going to stop doing what they're doing. Yep. It's just going to kind of take everybody reevaluating how things have to be done, and I'm just ready to see some.
Well, you're looking at, do we get another 4 years similar to what the last 4 years have been, and are we going to slow down and how things are growing, or do we? I mean, and just because if Trump gets reelected doesn't mean he'll be able to repeat immediately what happened in his prior 4 years. But,
no, I mean, yeah, we don't know that,
I do think it'll probably increase. People probably will be a little bit more comfortable thinking that that's going to happen, but that doesn't mean that's going to turn around that quick.
But that is huge. Just giving people the confidence to feel at ease is huge.
It's the confidence that changes it, because I think you can even make an argument that that's what we've seen with inflation, is that when we get hit with COVID, inflation, prices went up and they haven't came back down, and a lot of it's just because they could.
Mm-hmm.
That's not 100%. Not that they should have already come back down by now. Some of it's just artificial.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of that's with the land and house market too. Is all these prices were driven up. There's not many people selling right now. There's so many people locked into low notes that they got back in 2020, 2021, and they're just sitting. So I think I saw somebody say that the magic number is around 5%. If loans could get to around 5.5%, then everything would kind of click back to normal. Because right now, if you bought a house or a piece of land in 2020, 2021, you got it, say, anywhere between, as far as a house goes, you can get it 2.5 pretty much. Yeah. Anywhere between there and 4.5, and now you're paying 7.5. Yep. You're not selling to go somewhere else if you got to pay 5% more interest. You're just not. It just doesn't make sense. So, not to sit here and get all technical, but that's
the real estate.
That's our real estate. That's our land market update for October 24, 2024, and the next podcast. Even if we release on time, like we hope to, in 2 weeks, that'll be
after the election.
The election will be, isn't it on the 4th?
It's 5th.
5th. So, yeah, election will be over. So, we'll know. So, we're giving you an update now, and then we'll tell you on the next podcast if any of it mattered, if our update mattered.
Was the land market forecast?
Are those 82% of people, are they pissed off, or are the 18% of people happy? Yeah.
Switching gears completely. Did you go, this is a local news thing, but did you, you still run at Bonita a fair amount, don't you?
Yeah, I'm going as soon as this is over with.
Have you checked out the new arboretum they have?
Yeah, this is super local, but that is cool. I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know it was called an arboretum, and I don't know why it's called that. But
well, that's why I wanted to bring it up, because maybe somebody hears this. I meant to ask you, whenever they had the ribbon cutting the other day, I found out after the ribbon cutting that they were having it, but it might be cool to have somebody on to talk about that. But for listeners, what it is, I think they said there was 2 in the state, and what it is a walking trail. How long's the walking trail?
5.5 miles.
5.5 miles, and they went through it and they identified like 82 different either woody plant species or trees, QR coded them, and so as you go around the trail, there's QR codes that you can scan. And I don't know if I haven't been out there since they've done it, so I don't know if it like. I think it gives you like kind of like a little brief history what the tree is.
I haven't used the QR code on any of them yet, but it is cool. I can promise you that I know more tree and shrub species than just the average person. And there's a lot of them out there that I was like, oh, okay, that's what that is.
Well, I was looking at the list. Morgan went to the ribbon cut, and she brought home like a folder, and I meant to bring it with me today, and I forgot, but it had a list of like all 82. I think I'm saying 82. I'm pretty sure that's what the number was, but it had a list of all of them, and just reading through the list of what was out there, I was like, man, there's several in here that I can't picture what they look like. I didn't recognize them, so I'd be interested to go check it out.
And that is, if you're around the Meridian, East Mississippi area, Bonita's worth checking out one day. I mean, there's no camping or anything out there, but as far as just running, or they got mountain bike trails, they've got horse trails. I usually run on the mountain bike trails because there's hardly any mountain bikers out there, but it's worth going to do. And I mean, it kind of blends being out in the woods with exercise, so it goes hand in hand. But yeah, there's a lot of them out there, and a lot of them that I didn't know.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty cool, though, how they took the walking trail and combined it with this, where as you're going around the loop, you can learn about some trees.
That's some of the prettiest woods that you'll ever step foot in.
As
far as wildlife, it's probably not great because it is just as clean as you'll ever see.
Closed canopy old.
Oh, yeah. But you talk about some of the biggest white oaks that I've ever seen, some of the biggest pines. But yeah,
I've never been out there.
It would cause the biggest backlash ever if they cut it. But if they select cut some of that stuff and let that underbrush grow up, I couldn't imagine how many turkeys it would hold. I could not imagine. I see deer every time I go out there, but I also see deer on the little half acre in my backyard. They'll live anywhere, but the turkeys, they would be all over it, I guarantee you.
Well, I didn't know. I knew you frequented out there.
How have you never been out there?
I don't know.
I don't really take you for somebody that does much running, but
you should take me as somebody who does zero running.
Well, okay. That's
that's a good reason why I've never been out there.
I mean, it's awesome. Even if you just go walk. And you can go, I mean, I've fished that. I've put a boat in and fished that upper lake.
Yeah, but it's 30 minutes from where I grew up. It's 30 minutes from my house.
4 minutes from your office.
Yeah, but what am I going to do? Like, I'm in my office, I'm working.
When you leave your office, go by there and run.
Got stuff to do, man.
Take care of your body. I'm going here in just a minute. If anybody, this isn't live, so nobody can join me. This isn't live, but
you just got fired up wanting to invite people out there.
Yeah, because I do get tired of going by myself, but it's cool. It is cool. If anybody listening to this does run out there and wants somebody to run with,
y'all get an organized group run going.
Yeah. Shoot us a message or comment on the podcast, and we'll get up together and we'll run. But that's all I got today.
Yeah, that's same here. I just wanted to mention the tree thing because like, well, that'd be cool if somebody local did hear this and want to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we still have a listener or two after our break, and then we come back from our 2-month break talking politics. But just thought that was a good land market update, and just don't
lead with that on the with a thumbnail.
No, maybe that'll get us to go viral.
That's the clickbait.
Yeah, something about the White Oak Collective and Trump's land policy or something. Yeah. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But anyway, yeah, we're getting back in the groove of things. We're getting this. We won't be so echoey next time. We're getting some stuff on the walls and getting some stuff taken care of. And
I will have been in the woods next time we come back and talk. So that'll be good.
You'll be in the woods probably before this even drops. So maybe we can. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Well, we will see y'all in, let's say 2.5 weeks.